I'm Edie Lush, and I'm here at the inaugural event hosted by Hub Culture. It's the Ordinary Club of Extraordinary Women. I'm talking to a very extraordinary woman herself, Julia Street, CEO of Streets Consulting, comedian, woman about town. I want to know, there's a really interesting conversation over lunch about women in the city, and you mentioned something called feeding the pipeline. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I think there are lots of initiatives around encouraging more women into board positions. It's a 30% club, for example. There are lots of initiatives around getting more young women to think about their board positions and how do you help them into board positions. And there are lots of initiatives also around feeding that pipeline, because there's a big disconnect between the number of graduates, female graduates, who come into the city, but then who never make it up that greasy pole, I want to call it. That's not the right thing to call it. So actually there are some, so it's very encouraging to see. And I know there's another element as well, which I've seen, which is helping returning women back into work. And if you think about the age of technology, so I'm all about fintech, so financial services technology. And the world shifts very, very quickly. So if you left 3 years ago, for example, to have a child, and you're coming back and you're going, actually, I have no idea how these systems work. You know, what's Slack, for example, or, you know, kind of how do all these, you know, kind of apps work? It's actually initiatives that help women back into that, because it's all about confidence. It's all about coming back in and having the authority to pick up the job you had before or take on a new challenge. But also organisations, I think, have to think about, well, I know they have to think about changing business structures. So we talk about more flexible working. Paternity, and it's not just about the women, it's also about the men, and thinking very differently about how do high-performing teams perform, but perhaps different structures. It's very interesting.
How has the city changed since you've been working here?
Well, I look as though I've been here for about 25 years, and that's correct. You can't disagree with that. So interesting. My first ever job, they basically said, you can't wear trousers, must wear thick tights, even on a hot day.
Right. I mean, so, kind of appropriate sometimes. The tights possibly appropriate in London,
sometimes,
where it's never summer. But anyway.
Well, I have to disagree with that. It's a beautiful day today. Yes, but that's a fair comment.
Yeah.
I mean, the world and the dynamics are changing. You know, one of the big investment banks has changed their dress code only recently. The banks taking on greater innovation. You have chief innovation officers who are, I'm a little cynical about it, you know, just having it on a business card and being able to wear jeans doesn't really constitute innovation. But the world has changed a bit in terms of relaxing dress code. But it depends, you know, if you're a corporate banker versus being somebody who's a fintech entrepreneur. You know, I actually, it's a big struggle for me, because I spend some of my time with investors, sometimes with the banks, and sometimes with entrepreneurs. If I walk into an entrepreneur in my power suit, they think I'm an investor. Right? So you're like, well, so what's appropriate dress for so trying to get a wardrobe that sort of works for it all is quite difficult. And I spend most of my time on my fold-up bike. Right. So you can't be in your power suit. Well, you can, but on a fold-up bike around the city. So choosing how to address is a challenge sometimes.
Good. All right, Julie, we've gone all over the place here.
We always do.
Thank you very much for stopping by.
Pleasure.
The camera here at the Ordinary Club of Extraordinary Women, and I'm Edie Lush.